Hello and welcome back to Suzerain. And in today's episode, we have just begun a new chapter of reforming our democracy. But first, we have plenty of things to see going on. We got plenty of news. We got plenty of little reports from our villages, or towns more like. I don't think they're all. These are bigger than villages, me. But anyways, let's get to it. Recession hits farmers again. As for the latest news from Lochevin, the farming industry has taken another hit as a result of the recession. There are reports that 16% of all wheat in Lochevin is rotting in barns due to a lack of buyers. Farmers are requesting additional funds from the government to survive this year. That's really bad. Not only the farmers aren't getting their money, but the nation isn't getting their food. That's just like double bad. Yeah, we should probably deal with that. Narbel reports lack of hospitals. The mayor of Narbel has reported that their hospitals are overburdened and they are unable to respond to the needs of the citizens. He complained about months-long waiting lists for terminally ill patients. On top of the capacity issues, it was also noted that the facilities are still largely using outdated technology. That's also not great. Blutish resistance in sanctuaries. Bergian security forces have arrested 3 priests at 2 different Neriti sanctuaries in Sarna after finding links to insurgent activities. The reports came from an elderly man who wanted to pray in peace, but instead found himself invited to join the Blutish Freedom Front by a state-sanctioned priest. Further incidents indicate that the BFF is pushing for a local recruitment drive in different sanctuaries across the region. I see. Air Lorry. Young Swords and NFP flags burned. A massive counter-protest against Young Swords, led by a local politician known to be aligned with the Red Youth, resulted in many injuries and property damage. Subsequently, Young Swords and Nationalist Front Party flags were burned, which caused tensions to escalate. Local police dispersed the protesters by sundown. And then Bourne, communist books burned in Bourne. Local residents gathered thousands of books that they claimed to be spreading communist and Militanist propaganda at the Century Park in Bourne and set the books on fire. Ugh. I hate book burning. I don't care what the book is. Don't just burn knowledge. As a man of history, I hate the burning of knowledge of any kind. Even if it's knowledge that's bad, it should be kept to remember, to learn from. Let's say these are evil, extremely bad communist books. They should still be kept to learn from. Even if they're pure evil doctrine, we should see that and teach, here's what you shouldn't do. You know? That's just me. I hate when I hear stuff like this on, news and stuff like that. Just don't burn books, please. Aggressive slogans targeting the Red Youth and Workers' Party of Bludia and the Communist Party of Swordland were shouted. Youth groups from the local party offices of the USP and NFP also joined in with the burning. The fire department was dispatched, and the protests dispersed on their own. Good. Legislative debate on the repeal of EPA. The Grand National Assembly was the stage of contention debate today, over the proposed repeal of the Energy Protection Act of 1932. Arguments both for and against the repeal were put forth, with Franz Richter of the PFJP and USP reformist wing leader Albin Clavin leading the faction advocating for the repeal. They argued that such a move would foster economic growth and increase foreign investment. However, the United Swordland Party and National Front Party, under the leadership of Gloria Tori and Casaro Kibinir, respectfully defended the act vehemently, citing the need for Swordland to protect its strategic energies from foreign control. The final decision now hinges on the vote, which will be held in the following month. Interesting. Alright, we got some news. The Whole Sword Post. Red Youth rises. Warning bells for Swordland. Recent activities of Red Youth seen rallying in Narbel have set off alarm bells ringing. The sudden visibility of a group known for its radical political ideology raises concerns about the political threats to Swordland's national stability. Their resurgence warrants vigilance and a closer examination of their intentions and potential influence on our nation's political landscape. Swordland today. School poisoning in Ribble. Police have arrested the principal of a high school in Ribble, in southern Bergia, where 12 students died after eating a free meal laced with pesticide. The students aged between 15 and 17 died after eating a lunch of local dish of zabla, cooked at the school in a poverty-stricken city. Police have started the investigation to solve the mystery of how the pesticide ended up in the food. Economist. Upcoming government budget changes. At the top economy experts in the country, we have been watching the upcoming changes to the government budget very closely. President Anton Rein's first internal economic challenge lies ahead, and we will see if he can prove his capabilities as a leader who can think ahead. The potential ramifications of diverting the fundings to certain government branches has always been a point of contention for any leader, and is no difference for this case. We will see if President Rein can hold on to the promises he has given during the election campaign. I will. The Latvian Times, worker unions pressure for promised benefits. In a tactical move to accelerate the implementation of promised benefits, the Communist Party of Sordland and the Labor Union of Sordland have declared a labor strike at Gassam. The action seems to serve a dual purpose, exerting pressure on Gassam's management to uphold its commitments, and indirectly reminding President Anton Rein of the expectations ahead of his meeting with Gassam chairman Elwold Alfonso. Radical, united in protests, LUS and CPS gather in Narbel. An impressive display of solidarity saw members of Labor Union of Sordland and Communist Party of Sordland gathering in Narbel. The mass protest not only marks a new phase in the fight for workers' rights, but also sends a powerful message to President Anton Rein. The workers of Sordlands will not be silenced or sidelines. I'm not. Calm down. Time for women to stand up. The women in Sordland have always been under pressure by the unequal society and the system of discrimination that was built by old men who only knew about war, said Katerina Horton in a women's rally that was held in Holsword yesterday. The Swordish League of Women is organizing a number of rallies across Sordland to bring the change Sordland desperately needs. It is time for Sordland to realize that we have to respect every individual regardless of their sex and strive to become an advanced civilization. Women have long been pushed to corners of the society and political life. To address this change, a new campaign was started all over Sordland to establish a framework for women's rights. Swordish League of Women is organizing rallies with the support from the Minister of Education, Sierra Walda, and Member of Assembly, Katerina Horton. Everybody is equal according to the Swordish Constitution, but there are no protections against discrimination, which only reinforces the inequality in practice, said Walda in a press conference. This movement must be supported by all Swordish women as well as men. We need to bring change now. We can do it. Questioning Solist education. Yes. The newly unveiled SIPA Education Performance Report unveiled a sad reality about Sordland's abyssal status in comparison to many countries. Sordland was rated 39th out of the 68 nations that was assessed by the OMEC organization. The primary gauge of the quality of education is made from a sample of 16-year-olds from each nation and their capacity in fields like mathematics, history, chemistry, and many others. One of the key issues was seen as the strong focus on history and citizenship classes, leaving little time for scientific fields. Don't be wrong, history's great, should be studied a lot, but we're specifically doing Solist a little much. Minister Walda often mentioned the gaps in the system in her assembly debates before she joined the cabinet. This is also supported by one of our editors, a professor from Holsword State who had long been critical of the situation in secondary education. The SIPA report reveals the damning truth that Solist education, based on the principle of statism, nationalism, republicanism, poisons the bright minds of our children. We need to rid the system from the poison that is ideological indoctrination, and let our future generations think for themselves. Geopolitico. Anrican Archipelago emerges as a buffer zone and global trade power. Federation of Anrican Isles, a collection of strategically located islands. Nope, can't just go to. Oh well. Between the continents of Mercopa and Cortana, it's positioned itself as a significant buffer zone and global trade power amid escalating tensions between United Cortana and Arcadia. The archipelago's unique geographic location allows it to serve as a conduit for international commerce and diplomacy, fostering a robust trade empire in the process. Anrika's naval strength has been a key factor in maintaining its influence in the region. With a powerful fleet protecting its maritime borders, the Federation has managed to establish and maintain open trade routes, even amidst the ongoing superpower confrontations. This has enabled Anrika to attract businesses from both United Cortana and Arcacia, positioning itself as a neutral ground for global trade and economic cooperation. Federation of Anrican Isles' strategic location and neutrality have made it an indispensable player in the global trade ecosystem. As tensions between United Cortana and Arcacia continues to rise, the nation's role as a buffer state and trade power is more crucial than ever, highlighting the importance of maintaining stability and fostering economic growth in the region. Grace nations unite and counter ideological influences, forge parallel financial order. In a historic move, the member states of the Guild of Royal Allies for Commercial Exchange, GRACE, have announced a series of joint initiatives aimed at countering the growing influence of Melanism and Arcacian capitalism ideologies while establishing a parallel financial and trade order. The unprecedented collaboration comes at a time when traditionalist monarchies are increasingly being challenged by geopolitical shifts and global economic trends. During the recent GRACE summit held in Thornborough, the capital of the Kingdom of Rubberg, leaders from members of the nations, including the Kingdom of Riza, Baronies of Sordes, the Principalities, Nereberg, Holy Kingdom of Alriek, the Confederation of Venderism, and the Kingdom of Nalapurna, came together to discuss strategies and share insight on preserving their unique heritage and promoting prosperity and stability in the face of a rapidly changing world order. King Ramus Taurus of Rizia addressed the summit, emphasizing the importance of unity among the member states. We stand together, not only as partners in commerce, but also as protectors of our shared heritage and values. The tides of change may be strong, but our resolve to uphold our traditions and resist external influences is even stronger. Archduke Bertrand de Velenor, the leader of Nereberg, echoed King Taurus' sentiments, adding, "Our unity and grace sends a clear message to the world. We are capable of forging our path, independent of ideological battles that threaten to engulf the globe." As part of the initiative, Grace nations have agreed to establish a joint development bank and to finance infrastructure projects, promote regional trade, and foster economic growth. In addition, they have committed to enhancing cultural and educational exchanges, aiming to bolster the relationships between their peoples and reinforce the bonds that unite them. The Grace Summit's ambitious agenda underscores the determination of these monarchies to not only survive, but thrive in a world increasingly divided by ideological conflicts. Van Houten blames Vagsland for the missing fishing vessel. On Tuesday morning, Agnola's Prime Minister Van Houten has made a statement denouncing Vagsland for the missing vessel hull number IRV 0238. Our dutiful coast guards have rescued a crew member of the missing vessel. Through his statement, we had learned the ship's unfortunate end was none other than the Vagslandian Navy. However, the Prime Minister has refused to disclose the surviving crew member due to fear of assassination attempt from Vagsland to cover up their hostility, as the minister later claimed. Alright. Now, let's just have barbecue with Frank at the residence of the president, you know? Let's get out of this politics stuff real quick. Let's go to the family life. It was a Saturday afternoon, my first break from work in what felt like years. And the weather couldn't have been more perfect. Trying to keep my mind off the upheaval sparked by the circus and assassination, I lit the backyard grill. Monica and Deanna were out shopping for craft supplies, and I'd given the staff the day off. It was just myself and Frank at home. I wasn't sure how he felt about me at the moment, but I did know how I felt about barbecued ribs. Our cook had left some marinating in the refrigerator. Sure enough, as soon as Frank glimpsed the grill and the meat, he stepped outside to join me. "So, come to spend some quality time with your old man, have you?" "Sure, if you could spare a few minutes out of your busy schedule." "I'm sorry, I know I haven't been around very often lately, but I'm happy to see you now." "It's okay, I know you've got the most stressful job in the country, and you've got to feed your family on top of it all." We both chuckled. I turned into the fire. Here, let me try. He grabbed the fan and started quickly waving it over the coals. The fire roared to life. He turned to me with a grin on his face, as if he was expecting praise. Not bad, son, not bad. Thank you, sir. It is utmost an interest to fulfill our duties with precision. The grilling shall commence. 1 minute and 32 seconds. That was a spot-on impersonation. The grilling shall commence in exactly 1 minute and 32 seconds. Actually, I'll go. Thank you, sir. It is our utmost interest to fill our duties with precision. The grilling shall commence in exactly 1 minute and 32 seconds. That was a spot-on impression of Lucian. We looked at each other for a second, then burst out laughing. I realized my throat was parched. There was a six-pack of beer in the kitchen. I mean, I've Coca-Cola. I'm actually 21 tomorrow. That probably dates how much ahead I'm actually recording. I'm actually spoiler. I'm actually recording all these quite a few videos before I'm even 21. Basically during this period where I'm like, I don't want to upload videos because it's during 21 and I'm kind of having a break. I'm actually still kind of recording some videos during that time. I just don't like the editing part or the having to go through and put all the sort of gotta copy and paste the title, the information, all that sort of stuff. It just takes so long. But I love recording. So whenever I have some free time from birthday parties, I'm still coming over and just doing some recording. I'm just only doing the recording steps. So, hey. I know. I'm weird. Why don't you bring us a couple of beers? He looked at me in disbelief. You mean I can? But Mom told me. He stopped himself, quickly ran inside, and returned with 2 beers. We cracked them open. I would crack my Coca-Cola, but I've already opened it. Clinked the bottles together. There, I clinked a Crunch bar and a Coca-Cola together, clinged the bottles, and gazed out at the city skyline. For a moment, my thoughts flashed back to my childhood and my relationship with my own father. My father was a rich man. He never had to worry about food, clothes, or anything else, yet he was nearly always away, and constantly distracted on rare occasions when he was at home. Now that I was the present, I was worried that I would end up just like my father, distant antics from Frank's life. Can't relate. My dad's super close to me. Dad, can I ask you something? We are family. You can ask anything. It's just, I feel like there's so much you've been hiding from me about your past and what's going on right now. Like at dinner that night after ball, you told me everything was under control, but it wasn't, was it? I know what happened in the 20s. We learned all about it in school. You know, with the protests and the riots, is it going to be the same thing? Dad, is there going to be a civil war in Swordland? I hope not. He let out a sigh. But what was it like back then? Uncle Peter said the two of you went through a lot. I'm not a kid anymore, you can tell me. Before I could gather my thoughts, the familiar images started flashing before my eyes. Images of soldiers advancing towards me, and my friends, weapons drawn, of people I knew, friends and neighbors being dragged through streets, murdered in alleyways, the shock and grief on the faces of fathers, mothers, and orphaned children. Those were dark times. It seems like it. But you're nearly a grown man. Let's talk about it. Frank leaned forward in his chair, his eyes wide. Let's tell Frank about the coup. I was barely older than you are now, studying history at the Europa University of Culture. I was a freshman, excited and young. I had just left the classroom to go back home as I heard the sound of multiple vehicles approaching the campus gates. As they got closer, I realized they were military camouflaged trucks and tanks, carrying hundreds of soldiers. The same soldiers that were supposed to protect Swordland citizens pointed their guns at us. They immediately took control of the facilities. One of my friends asked what was going on and was arrested immediately. More people got angry and gathered in protest. Frank kept listening, a shocked look on his face. Seeing the crowd gather, I knew something was going to happen, something bad. I decided it was impossible to go against armed men and ran away from the scene. Ran away from my friends who were getting arrested and shot to save my own dear life like a coward. I still feel my flight was justified. Anyone would do the same. No one could sleep that night because of gunshots and sounds of boots. I can't forget the screams to this day. Frank leaned back in his chair, his shoulders slumped heavily. Tell Frank about the It was time to tell him about the Civil War. It was right after I met your mother. We had both joined the same political debate group, the Push for Change, after a group of 27. But over the next year, the state of Sorland deteriorated. People started picking sides, and I tried to stay away as much as I could. Then one night it happened. Two different factions in the army, one of them led by fascist General Lutheran, and the other by Socialist General Rickard, started fighting against each other. It was a bloodbath. Nowhere was safe. Frank shifted in his seat, visibly uncomfortable. People organized protests either for or against Rickard. I heard about the clashes the next day. Many of my friends were shot or arrested. I isolated myself for months. That's enough for today. It's okay, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have asked you about it. I know I don't understand how easy my life is sometimes. One more thing, though. I know that you managed to not take any sides. Do you mind if I ask why? I didn't want to be part of the violence. Frank raised his eyebrows, his curiosity still not satisfied, but sensing my reluctance to go on, he simply nodded. Sorry for bombarding you with questions. I know I complain sometimes, but my problems are nothing compared to what you went through. Hey, I'm here to listen to them, no matter what they are. Before Frank could say anything else, I heard the front door unlock. Deanna and Monica's voices and the sound of rustling shopping bags filled the house. Alright, I'll be upstairs until dinner. Frank went in and dashed upstairs. I took a long sip of my beer. Looking at the city and now setting sun. I hoped that talking to Frank about my past had been the right decision. Part of me felt as if some sort of burden had been lifted, but I had the same nightmares again that night. Whoa, I got even more news. Oh my goodness, calm down. ATO pledges financial and military aid to Agnolia. In an empathetic display of international solidarity, the Arcadian Treaty Organization, ATO, has committed significant financial and military aid to Agnolia. Located in the heart of eastern Recopa, a region rife with geopolitical complexities, Agnolia stands as a crossroad of economic challenges and potential security threats from Rumburg and Vagsland. This aid package is designated to enhance Agnolia's economic stability and bolster its military capabilities, fortifying it against possible CSP advances and further Rumburg hostility. As part of the ATO's larger goal to secure its capitalist allies against the spread of socialism, this assistance serves as a testament to ATO's commitment to supporting its member nations in their time of need. Good to know. Kingdom of Rhesia. Rhesia advocates for energy partnership. The Rhesian oil and gas rock has extended a co-investment proposal for Sorland's ambitious Gossam energy venture. King Ramus emphasizes the bilateral benefits of such cooperation, its potential in bolstering the region's energy security, and also stressed that this collaborative venture could form the bedrock of a stronger economic alliance, further binding our nations. Interesting. Okay, that's the next thing, so I'll go. Prisoners riot in Until Rock Prison. Yesterday around 11 a.m., a prison riot started in Ward C of the Until Rock Prison, which was eventually suppressed. Ward C is generally used for keeping political prisoners, and the riot started when the warden was killed by brutish political prisoners. 4 guards and 21 prisoners died. 134 were injured. Wow, that's a big riot. Oh, what's up? Oh, you have a low industrial output that's been added. According to reports, the city's industrial production is significantly below its potential, which is hurting the local economy. It may be necessary to take action to boost industrial output and prevent further economic decline. Well, that's a concerning thing to be added. More industrial output concerns. Oh, well, yeah, that's what the report's about, too. The mayor of Morna has reported that their industrial output numbers this year are 12% lower than last year. They're requesting additional support to improve their industrial capacities, including machinery and personnel to combat the downwards trend. With the construction of several new factories in Morna, the mayor stated his belief that an economic upturn in the city is still possible if government investments succeed. According to current projections, Morna is set to lose an additional 2% of industrial output next year. However, recent data from municipalities suggest that an investment worth several billion of SR will stop the downward trend and increase the industrial output in a short amount of time. Also, look at our growth! Look at that growth! I mean, it's not going up, but it's not going down. That's what I'm talking about. I mean, I'm happy about it. L1 report from Underhall. Underhall Construction Project Manager for the L1 Railway has reported that the project has been progressing well, and they've already started laying down the foundations of ground retaining walls, bridges, and tracks. Project supervisors from the government confirmed the report, saying that most of the preliminary work has already been done by Underhall, and everything was going according to schedule. USP report on reforms. Many members of the USP, led by Albin Cliven and the reformist wing of the party, clarified their demands for the government in the party congress. For the upcoming constitutional reform, Albin Cliven stated that without minister reforms, they won't be able to stand behind the new reform package. Well, that's not. We'll all make it all work. The Holsard Post, the Green Act. A misdirected effort. The Green Act, heavily backed by the PFJP, seems out of touch with the prevailing political climate in the country. There's a disconnect between the policymakers and the ordinary sort of citizen, whose immediate concerns are more likely to center around the economy, job security, and social securities, or services. While environmental conservation is important, it should not overshadow the more pressing needs of the people. One hopes future policies will better reflect the realities and priorities of the Swedish people. Attacker opened fire on protesters, 17 dead. A man opened fire in Vesord city center during a protest march organized by the Communist Party of Sordland against the murder of Bernard Sarkis. The attacker used a military-grade machine gun dated 1929, which is suspected to be part of the inventory of the Swedish armed forces. The attacker killed himself right after shooting at 25 people, killing 16. He took out the weapon from the newsstand at the square, brandishing it, and yelled, "Come, I will give you freedom!" One witness said, the highly charged word freedom was previously associated with Bludish separatists, but has been used widely during the previous month of protests against the murder of Bernard Circus. Minister of Interior Liz Graf said that she had spoken to the chief of the Sword Police and asked him to take strict action. The government will not tolerate such incident, and the perpetrators will not be spared, she said. Swordland Today, Tourism Bill signed, deserves applause. The signing of the Swordland Tourism and Cultural Preservation Act by President Anton Rein marks a monumental step in the right direction. The act, designed to amplify Swordland's cultural allure and tourism visibility, holds the potential to spark economic recovery. Swordland's path to becoming a global tourist destination is now clearer than ever, and we anticipate a vibrant future for our nation's tourism industry. Economists, green, a threat to growth. And the newly proposed Green Act, aimed at nurturing a sustainable industrial approach in greening, raises concerns of stifling economic growth. Section 1's stringent regulations on industrial pollution and waste disposal could potentially burden businesses with heavy compliance costs. Though fines will fund environmental and recovery projects, the financial strain could outweigh the benefits. While the proposed tax breaks for reducing environmental impact, as outlined in Swordland Section 2, appear attractive, they might not compensate for the cost of stricter regulations. Our analysis suggests a balanced approach, marrying economic growth with environmental considerations. Gotham and turmoil, a leadership crisis. The recent financial distress facing Gotham, one of the pillars of Swordland's economy, highlights a glaring issue at its helm. An investigation reveals a disconcerting narrative of mismanagement spearheaded by Elward Alfonso and the current CEO, known to maintain close ties with Minister-Manager. Evidently, their leadership is characterized by striking absence of cost-cutting initiatives and measures to enhance operational efficiency. Gotham, formerly a beacon of economic prosperity, is now struggling under the weight of poor leadership, underscoring the urgent need for managerial overhaul. That's concerning. Reason Oil and Gas expresses interest in Gotham. Reason Oil and Gas, a leading player in global energy sectors, reportedly expressed an interest in investing in Gotham. The Reason corporate giant move could be significant implications for Swordland's domestic energy sector. While this potential investment may raise concerns about foreign influence, it also offers a welcome capital injections for Gotham. It will be interesting to observe how this development unfolds and impacts the dynamics of Swordland's energy industry. FC Gullsword, FC Anrika Derby postponed due to protest. One of the most anticipated matches between the FC Gullsword and FC Anrika was postponed because of the intense protest in the city of Anrika. No, this is the worst news we've seen yet. The league has issued the following statement regarding the situation. Due to safety reasons, the players are compromised during the time of trouble. Send in the military! Joking. My, advisors just hear me from the room over, okay, we've got the advice, send them it. We have decided to postpone the game. Moreover, we stand in solidarity with our fans, our players, and the people of Africa in the fight against injustice. Mayor Curtis Lest has also made a statement. It is a tragic day of Swordland, where the president himself refused to act in the face of communism. Whatever. It is said that inaction breeds doubts and fears, thus I fear that the threat of communism is so deeper inside the hidden nation than we thought. Alright, the people who will over stop fighting for this over great. Yeah, whatever. Get over yourself. The imperative Green Bill awaits signature. The proposed Green Act, championed by forward-thinking members of the Assembly, could be a transformative step of Swordland. The act, if signed by President Rain, would introduce stricter regulation on industrial pollution and waste disposal, providing a much-needed push towards environmental responsibilities, particularly in grooming. Businesses that fail to meet the new standards would face fines, the revenue of which would contribute to environmental recovery projects. Simultaneously, the demonstrations, significant reduction in the environmental impact would enjoy tax breaks. The creation of a small investment fund for eco-friendly practices represents a pioneering approach to industrial sustainability. It's high time we put the environment at the heart of our policymaking. We urge President Rain to sign this crucial legislation. Undemocratic elections of Swordland. Swordland has an election threshold of 10%. This means any political party that are under 10% of the vote can't enter the assembly. This is the very reason why the United Swordland Party holds 52% of the seats of assembly today. It is also the reason why the largest ethnic minority of Swordland is non-existent in Swordish politics. The last elections have shown that the pro-Bludish WPB has the enormous voter base of just above 9%, but it still failed to meet the 10% threshold and couldn't enter politics. Similarly, the CPS won around 8% of the general vote, but was eliminated. This means that millions of votes are not represented in our current government. Moreover, this has benefited the USP the most and gave them the lawmaking power. The undemocratic threshold needs to be lowered down so that there is a true representation in the assembly, and a true representation of our voices. No one can call Swordland a democracy without a decrease or a constitutional proposal that does not include such change democratic. CSP's workers' report under scrutiny. A recent report on the workers' right, released by a reformist faction within the Cortana Security Pact, has stirred international discourse, attracting both considerable attention and critical skepticism. While the report offers an ostensible comprehensive overview of labor conditions within the CSP member nations, critics argue that the data could benefit from a more nuanced and detailed analysis. The CSP's assertive claim of surpassing global standards in terms of minimum wages and unionizing rates is a contention that invites closer scrutiny. It remains essential to distinguish between stated policy objectives and the actual situation on the ground concerning the complexity of labor dynamics. The debate underlines the need for transparency and evaluating such claims and reinforces the importance of independent verification. But that makes sense. America broadens economic horizons. America is taking strategic steps towards diversifying its economic portfolio, with a keen focus on investing in energy exporting nations. This approach not only indicates America's intent to strengthen its economic stability, but also underlines its foresight in recognizing the burgeoning value of energy sections worldwide. Additionally, America appears to be charting an innovative path by expressing commitment to financially support nations outside the ambit of ATO and CSP influence. This indicates a clear intent towards fostering a global neutrality, marking a potential deviation from the conventional alignments with major power blocs. As this approach takes shape, the international community will be closely monitoring its political impacts on the global economic landscape. And yeah, I think this is a good time to go ahead and end this episode. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell button. And as always, peace.